I'm on technology side, but it all
Yes.
quicker. Once we start technology conversation, it comes to people and
Yes.
affect on society really fast. Okay. So
Sure.
with the revenue optimization, right, with RevOps, which is a new term to me, but I'm learning.
Ah.
I'm learning here. Yeah. So
Oh,
how do people in organizations, all those stakeholders in sales, in marketing, in
yep.
business functions, right? How do they take that change, you think?
Well, they need someone to step aside and to live above the noise, and that's where really revenue operations came from. Essentially, we had different silos. We had the sales team in the CRM, and then we had the marketing team inside their marketing automation tool. Customer success had a ticketing, and you've got lots of disparate pools of information in different places. And leaders and investors are trying to figure out what's happening, and they need some place to go to find the answers. And so, revenue operations is born from that need, and it's really an ancestor. Our ancestor is sales operations, but things have evolved, like I just said. So now we're in a world where we are owning the revenue technology. We're owning the CRM, the marketing automation tool, the sales engagement platforms, and the sales intelligence tools. So the modern RevOps stack has probably at least 6 pieces of software in it, maybe upwards of 10, and it's very complicated, and it's always changing. And so it's useful to have at least one person, hopefully a team of people that are thinking about nothing but what technology do I have, what teams are using it, and how are the processes in between them? Are there any silos where information is falling off and or revenue is not being picked up properly? And so, as you can imagine, as an investor, I found revenue operations out of need because I needed information that I eventually came to learn the RevOps folks have. But a lot of the companies that I invested in were so early stage that they didn't have revenue operations. And so this became essentially almost like a value add for my family office that I stood up. McDonagh Family Office will invest, principally small amounts into private companies because I don't have big amounts. But then I try to add value by either introducing fellow investors that have more means than me, or by getting into the gears and looking at what the revenue engine looks like, maybe introducing Python scripts to automate the flow of reports back to executives, or performing natural language analysis on recordings of sales calls to understand, are there competitors being mentioned that we're not like adequately addressing, or are there opportunities for maximizing the efficiency of the revenue engine that we haven't captured? So it really was just I fell into it, the whole revenue operations thing. I thought I was creating revenue ops, and then I started to realize, wait a minute, there's almost nothing new under the sun. There's probably folks who've been there before. And then I found a whole bunch of great influencers, like Andy Byrne at Clary and a few other really great companies. And I've just learned from a lot of the smarter people than me. If you're the smartest person in the room, leave the room. So thankfully, I've been in a lot of rooms where I am not the smartest one in the room, and that's where I picked up so much.
Beautiful. Could you provide some examples, where RevOps actually had an effect on bottom line? I don't need to be convinced, but some
Yeah.
examples would be, yeah, good to hear. Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, for instance, you in the CRM have different opportunity types. You might have a new business opportunity and a renewal opportunity. And most systems, most companies have some sort of automations in place where if they create a new opportunity, the renewal will automatically be created. Well, you don't know what you don't know. And so if you run a report and you say, how many renewals do I have next year? It could say you've got 100 renewals and you've got, $100 million worth of ARR coming. But unless you have a little bit of RevOps skills, you're not going to be able to analyze the system and determine, did any of the automations fail? Like, are there any renewals that didn't get created in the first place? And so when I'm providing account to my partners or my bosses, they are turning around and saying, hey, what the heck is going on here? So I've had examples where I've found, lost money, meaning contracts that were real contracts that we had, but were not in the CRM and that were not being reported back to the board. So literal found money. I've also found the opposite, right? Where, we've been counting the same contract 2 or 3 times, honestly, like nothing untoward, but it was just mistakes, happening in the back office, or things were cloned inadvertently. And as a result, that can make revenue look bigger than it is, which is, arguably a bigger problem than having money that you didn't know about. So yeah, there's definitely examples on both sides of the barbell.